Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hey.
Podcast time. New location. We are
Old location.
on location. What is that? What they call it whenever they go places?
Yeah, we are
We're
on
on
location.
location. We are shooting on location.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
We are here at the place it all began.
Yes. It's exciting. I wish I could show you
This is anniversary week.
what it looked like. Yes.
This is anniversary week. We're getting ready Sunday to celebrate 16 years of ministry. It has been an incredibly amazing and difficult 16 years. We have gone through so many highs and so many lows, and we thought it would be a really cool idea to just come back to the place it all began. This is your first time here in...
Yeah, I haven't been back here since we left.
Yeah.
100 years ago. How many years ago?
It's not been 100 years ago. It's been 13
Yeah.
or 14 years, because we were here 2 years.
Cammie was in my belly, so 3.
Anna was a baby.
Yeah,
'cause
so-
she,
So I would say 3.
Yeah.
she's 16
13
now.
years.
Yeah,
13 years?
probably 13 years.
I would think 13
since
years.
we've been gone from this place. So for those of you who don't know our story, my dad was pastoring a church. The facility is a modular home. I'm gonna guess. Actually, what is it? What's the size of this area here? Any clue? What, you know what size half of it is? I'm gonna say 12 feet. So 24 feet wide, 30 feet wide, 30 by 30. We'll say 24 by. Step it off. There you go, Ash.
82 by 82.
24, 3, 6, 9, 12. So 12 feet. So 24.
Yeah.
So 24 foot wide, and probably that same depth here. Not quite that big.
Oh my gosh.
I think it's a
much-
little longer.
Much longer.
No, I'm saying this room
the
here.
actual sanctuary
This
part.
room here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, you got to consider behind
yeah, and the wall
that-
wasn't there, so that's a little deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say
I
24
think
by
that would have been level with the stage.
30.
24 by 30. Yeah,
32.
probably level with the stage, where the stage from the stage was.
Now I remember Jesus passing this.
Yep.
Or the, not
gracious.
real Jesus,
That
but
was so little.
During a
during like
Easter play or
Easter
something.
plays, they would always pass
So the
that.
sanctuary size was probably around 24 by 30.
Yeah.
And then some of there are walls here now, but it used to be little cubby holes there where we could have the sound booth. And then this area here actually was seating as well. And I think
can't
it probably
see
you
it.
can't see it, but I think
It's an office.
I think it was probably somewhere around 80 seats, maybe 100 max.
I would
Yeah,
say.
80 seats.
Yeah.
Probably 80 seats that we sat in here.
If we fit 100 seats in here, that's
We were
some
sitting
talent.
on top of each
That's
other.
some
Yeah.
talent.
And so
We
this
have
is
that talent.
So
We
so
could figure it out.
My dad was pastoring the 9 a.m. service. We talked about doing a church plant. Of course, it was like, no, that's not a good idea. We decided to do it anyways, and he was doing 9 a.m. Sunday night, Wednesday night. We would do 11 a.m. and then a Tuesday night midweek Bible study. And so that's kind of how we started. And we were here for a couple of years, and we grew from about 8 people our first service to probably about 40 or 50 whenever we left here.
I would
Consistently.
think so.
Yeah, probably about 40 or 50. And then moved over when my parents built their new facility. We moved over there with them for probably 7 or 8 months until we moved to Myrtle Beach, to the facility there on Palmetto Pointe Boulevard. And so that's kind of our story here. And so there's a lot of good memories here, a lot of incredible stories, a lot of scary stories, a lot of lot of moments here that really kind of created us into who we are. Like, I remember my dad dedicated Caleb here, and I remember honestly
And Carson.
here. And so I remember that was a part of our life, a part of our history. Our family history is connected to this place. So let's talk about some stories that we have from here. There's a lot of church growing and stretching inside of 2 ministries here, things of that nature. But let's talk about the church and some stories that we may have from this current facility or our times whenever we were here. Either one of you.
I just, again, I hadn't been here since then. And so just looking around, the flood of memories and everything. but I remember standing right over here in front of the stage, and I remember picking up Caleb because he was so little, and I've got a picture of me. I don't know what I was doing. I was shaking him or something like that, and he's like 8 foot tall and a grown man now. You know,
Yes,
I think
he
of that. I
is.
think of Jarrett Collins. I could still see him back there in the sound booth with Bruce, and you know he's married with like 3 kids now.
Yeah.
And, I mean, just it's amazing how much. Certainly the ministry's grown, but also just the individuals that made up that ministry so long ago that are still with us.
Your whole life has changed since the first time here.
Yeah.
Like you weren't even married when we
I hadn't
started.
even met Kimberly.
You hadn't even met Kimberly.
I remember meeting Kimberly back here in the sound room.
Yes.
She
Yeah.
sat with you in the sound booth for the first time.
Yeah.
And we were like,
we launched
who's that?
in September, and me and Kimberly met in December. So
And then got married in May.
got married in May. Yeah.
So Tony's life has completely changed
Yeah.
since day one of starting this ministry
Yeah, I was a
and
single man.
and doing it here. You're a single man, and you know
We used to sing. He sang.
yeah, you did. You led worship for us for a little bit, and
keys on the guitar.
you know there were times where Maddie would be in kids ministry, and there's times where she would be right there on the back row eating candy while I was trying to preach.
or
Remember
in
those
that
days?
back corner over there so that I could sneak out that side back
door,
door and
yeah.
not anybody see me. And
I remember that.
yeah, I did that a couple times.
I remember that. What,
Yeah.
what about what's some of your memories here? What are some thoughts that you think whenever you walk in?
I mean, there was definitely some, because I was still new to the faith whenever we were in here. So there was definitely some new experiences from being Catholic to coming into a Pentecostal church.
Yeah.
So there's more times that I ran out that back door because I was scared of what was going on.
No, and that wasn't so much in our service as it was my dad's
Right.
service.
No, yeah, not in our service. I can remember, basically, I feel like I was sitting in this exact spot, but in a pew, and me and my mother were giggling over something, and there was only maybe 10 people in the service, and Jamie calling me out in the middle
Can
of
you
service
imagine?
while he was preaching, and I can remember that was probably one of our biggest fights
Yes, it
ever.
was.
I don't think I talked to him for a couple days after that.
Can you imagine?
remember that.
Like,
He literally called me out in service. He said, Maddie. And I was like, oh,
I did.
no.
I really did. And I remember it so well. I do
remember it.
remember it so well. But
And I was like, don't you ever do that again.
That's one of those awkward moments. Like I remember because it
You
was so
remember?
awkward.
It was so
I was like,
and it's one of those moments where you're in a
Thanks, Mimi.
it's one of those moments where you're in a fight and both of you are completely valid in your stance. Maddie's completely valid in don't call me out, and you are absolutely right. But I am completely valid in there's only 10 people here. Stop laughing and joking around while I'm
probably a
trying to
little bit
preach.
more than that,
There was
but-
more than that. There was not more than that.
I mean, there was 4 of us on that row.
So it's one of those things where it was like both sides were completely valid and neither one of us could really see each other's side because our side was, or our stance was so valid. And so you had this weird,
It was,
Listen,
it was
I
tense.
remember-
It was
Headbutting.
tense.
to back up his story, I remember you guys were out of town and I was preaching and I had to call down our worship pastor.
Yeah.
He was sitting right over here and
It must be this spot.
well, it's just that when there's that few people, it's just like there's no blocking that out.
Right.
You know, I remember saying, Chris. Oh, sorry, you know.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, I remember one time you leading worship for us up here. I tell this story quite often.
It's good times.
But I tell it in leadership development every time. He was singing. He was
sings and
actually playing the
I was
guitar
playing
though.
guitar.
You're
And
playing
I am
guitar.
not a guitar player.
And you were singing. You were leading worship, and you were doing Holy and Anointed one.
Yeah.
Jesus, Jesus, you're the Holy and Anointed One. Jesus.
Why don't you sing it for
I can
us?
play it right now.
And so, Tony, Maddie and I were sitting on the front row right here. Tony was on the stage leading worship, and he would go.
I don't know if I was on the front row.
You
yet.
were right beside of me.
Oh.
He was saying, Jesus, Jesus.
Listen, for musicians, you know, like there's so many really good musicians that have a difficult time playing and singing. And
You too.
I was not. I'm not a musician at all.
I remember that service. There were like 6, 8 people there.
We all laughed.
Yeah, I remember.
I was
We
too.
didn't get called out. We all laughed in that one.
I was sitting next to Maddie. She was right beside of me, and I remember like you could tell her like chest was giggling and like her shoulders were going. I was like, she's either being. I thought at first she was being ministered to by the song.
Hallelujah.
And I was like, she is weeping at how good Jesus is.
I was weeping at
And
how
then
bad that was.
Tears rolling down her face. I just saw her smiling, laughing. She couldn't control herself. So then
it was a night service.
So then
It was a Wednesday night service.
It
It
was
was
like
a
a
Tuesday
Tuesday.
night. We did
Tuesday
Tuesday night.
So then I
yeah.
just busted out laughing, and then whenever I busted out laughing, you busted out laughing, couldn't hold it in anymore. Then Tony busted out laughing, and it was like,
Listen,
Good times.
that is church planting at its
it is
finest.
church
Yes.
planting. Yes.
I'm
just gotta
not a
go with
musician.
it.
I like to sing a little bit, but I could not play.
Yeah.
I knew one song all the way through and not well.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things. You should do what you got to do. That was what was needed in that moment.
You
Right.
do what you got to do. And I think
Yeah.
I think sometimes church planters that are maybe watching this, or people that don't know our full story, and they see where we are now, and they don't understand where we came from to get to where we are now. I think a lot of even our church people don't understand where we came from to get to where we are now.
Yeah, they see the worship team we've got, the big stage, and all the great things that God's blessed the ministry with. But we had no drummer and used a drum machine.
We did. We used a drum machine.
That was.
I think it was
and
off.
it, would, and it wouldn't
off
turn
one
off.
And didn't know how to turn it off. Yeah, we didn't know how to turn it on.
It just kept going.
So we just sang. It was a song about our God reigns, and they just sang it through the entire worship set. And then all of a sudden, I honestly think it was Chris. He just bust out laughing, and he was like, "Sorry, y'all, I don't know how to turn this off," and turned it off. And he's like, "Pastor, come preach." And so I came and
fun.
preached.
It was good times.
Oh yeah.
That's why I don't do kids ministry, because I had enough here.
Yeah.
In a
Listen,
in
kids
a little
ministry, like-
8x8 room.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was 10 by 10.
10 by 10.
I remember.
I feel like it was 8x8.
It felt like 8 by 8, but I
It
remember we
was-
measured it
Yeah,
one
we
day because
measured.
we're like, this is really small. How big is
It
this?
was
And we measured it.
tiny.
It was 10 by 10, which if you think
Well,
about
it's
it.
right there to the right, and this is if this
Yeah.
is 12 foot, the hallway's at least 2.5
Three.
feet,
Has to
3
be
feet.
3
So
feet.
it may be 8 by 8.
It may have been.
It was.
really little, but just picture in your head, like, the
6
1 foot
little kids
square,
in there.
and picture like, just 10 that way and 10 that way, or 8 by, it was so
you
little.
had chairs, and you
Had chairs,
we
had a table.
We had the felt board. We taught with the little
Yeah.
felt guys,
Yeah.
where everybody was the same person, but they were different.
We didn't have no
Yeah.
TV or anything like that in there. There was
No.
no TV.
No.
There was no, it was.
We had a changing table.
I
even
don't
think we had a
think we
changing
did.
table.
I don't think we did.
I know
Yeah,
we
I
had
don't think
2
so.
metal folding chairs. I remember sitting in those.
Yeah.
There was a changing table in there.
You
Ashley sang there
did.
was
You did a
changing
lot of
table.
kids ministry, and
There was one.
again, the thing that people don't understand about church planting is you, Tony, myself, we've done every
Kimberly.
job. Well, and Kimberly,
Yeah,
whenever she came on. But we've done every job in the church because you had to, because there was
Right.
no other option. Like you didn't have somebody else to clean the church. You had to clean the church. You didn't have somebody else to lead worship. You had to lead worship. You didn't have somebody else to watch kids. We had to watch kids. You didn't have somebody to, count the offering or whatever the situation may be. You had to do those
we had to do all
things. We had to do, remember VBSs. They posted
yeah.
a picture this week of me during a VBS, and I ran that VBS. I'm the one that did the VBS because you didn't have
I
anybody
think
else.
your mom got so mad because we used silly string
Yes.
or
We
something.
used
and
silly string,
and
yeah.
We sprayed it, and she was not happy.
Which was
with
one of the
us.
troubles of being in it. It's hard enough whenever we were trying to grow a church as a church plant, and everything that we were struggling with and battling with, from the volunteers and not having. You were working full-time job. I was working full-time job. You were working full-time job, and it wasn't like we were able to just say, hey, let's give everything to ministry. But then on top of that, we were sharing a facility with a full-grown church.
Yeah.
And they were running, 100 people at the time, counting kids ministry and doing everything. And they were thriving and growing and preparing to build a facility. And they were doing really well. And us fighting for space and fighting for opportunity. So because it wasn't our ministry, we always had to take and they were good to us. My parents were good to us. We could not have done what we've done without them and without my dad's and my mom's, but without my dad's grace through that season of our lives. But whenever you're planning or an Easter egg hunt, And what time do you want to do an Easter egg hunt? Well, if they wanted to do theirs from 11 to 2, then our choices were before 11 or after 2.
Yeah.
And if you did it right at 2, then all the people who were there for theirs were just going to stay around for yours, or they were going to block up everybody with parking. And so you just had these weird, awkward moments, church services where their service would go longer and we would be coming in afterwards, and their people would pass our people on the way out, and their people would invite our people to their service the next week. And it was just these really weird.
To a real church.
Yeah. That's what one lady told
Why don't you just
Angie.
stay for ours?
That's what one lady told Angie. Angie Johnson, one of her first Sundays. But anyway, so you had some of those awkward moments of a full-grown church, and them trying to be gracious to us and let us plant. And listen, we've experienced that with some of the church plants that we've let use our facility, and the difficulties of we're not going to, we're not going to make many concessions to you because we can't. We have a ministry to run as well. And that was kind of where they are and where they were. And so we had a lot of those issues where we would want to do cool things with technology, and they'd say, no, we want to do I remember the graffiti back wall here.
That wasn't here though. That was
here. We started here.
Did we start it here?
And then the ICF sign, the big ICF sign. And so we had a lot of those, a lot of those back and forths because we were sharing a facility with a full grown church. And there were some hiccups and some battles there that wasn't easy to overcome, for sure.
For sure.
Caleb, do you remember anything about this place?
One memory in my lifetime.
Which is?
I got a birthday present. I remember a Denver Broncos helmet I got on the front porch of this place.
Oh, cool.
That's cool.
Super awesome.
Outside of that, zilch.
Outside of that, zilch. I remember a Christmas play we did here.
Oh my gosh, I was getting ready to, so, yeah, go ahead.
Which one?
Of the little kids. And they came out, and it was just because we didn't have very much, and it was like normal Christmas carols, and like one was a Santa Claus, and then one was Rudolph. I think Caleb was Rudolph, and then they were little, like they just walked up the aisle while the song sang, and that was our kids' Christmas play because we didn't have nothing else to do. Yeah.
I remember.
Good.
I remember things like certain fundraisers we would do, like we did like a Valentine's King and Queen, and some of the people that would buy into things like that wouldn't buy into normal everyday services or every week Sundays, but would buy into making sure their kid was the Valentine King or Queen. And
right.
That was fun.
Yeah.
We should bring that back. No, I'm just joking. No, we should not.
No, we should not.
No, we should not.
What else? What else as you walk in? You
I remember the Mother's Day service that we tried to do, and we tried to make it formal.
Yeah.
Remember that?
We all had tuxes.
All the guys had tuxes and were escorting the ladies to their seats, and because we aren't obviously we're not a formal church. You wear what you want to wear.
I just saw a picture of that like just the other day.
Yeah.
I was going through some old pictures.
I'm really confident I have a picture of it. I know I have a picture of it.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah, I've got one on my computer right now because I was going through them.
I remember Anna Clark throwing up on
your mom.
On my mom or me anytime I held her in this back corner.
Every time.
Yep.
Every time.
She was a baby. She spit up
a lot.
Everything she ate.
All the time.
Poor girl.
Yeah.
I remember the Thornells walking through that door for the first time with Hunter.
So let's talk about let's go there. Let's talk about some people that we remember and conversations that we remember. So Beth and Richie came week 1 with Hunter in her belly.
Right.
And then
the
missed a week and then came back week 2.
Yep.
With Hunter in a
carrier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how long they've been a part of our life and
And,
families.
I was thinking about Scott and Maria.
Yeah, Scott and Maria.
Their story is...
They never came here.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they came here.
Yeah.
Were they here? I
Absolutely.
thought they went to the other place.
No. Scott and Maria rented from Uncle James. Uncle James was...
I think y'all are both wrong. I think I'm right.
I'm very 1,000% sure.
Pretty sure that it was at the other facility.
1,000%.
Call Scott right now.
I mean, they were over there, but they were here
I don't
first.
think they ever came here.
1,000% sure.
I would, if I was a betting girl, I would bet you it was not here.
You may have to get Scott on speakerphone. He won't answer.
I know the Kegels were here.
Kegels were here.
Sure.
Well, they weren't Kegels at the time. They were.
Sam
Johnson
had his computer repair shop right next door.
Yep.
They were here.
Yeah.
Jarrett was here.
Yeah. Man, Jarrett was just
He was like
12.
13,
Yeah.
12, yeah. I remember them playing in the grass over there during, it was like an after school thingy.
Scott, we are on the podcast, so everybody can see you, okay? Okay? Hey, so your first Sunday here, was it in the manufactured home here, or was it at my parents' facility?
It was at River of Life.
Which one? Both of them were River of Life.
The one where they're at now.
Your parents' facility.
Yes, I
Interesting.
knew it.
Hold up. Where was Maria's first time?
Where was Maria's first time? Your first time must have been there, but Maria's come here. That's right.
No.
That's what it was.
No.
It was the same one. We were together.
I knew it. Man, I'm good.
Maddie was right.
I'm good.
I was
I
wrong.
knew it.
I think she texted.
Did y'all hear that?
Cut this from the podcast. Cut this from the podcast.
No.
Oh, looks
I
like Scott
knew
didn't
it.
answer.
All right, bye.
I knew it.
Scott and Maria weren't here.
No, I knew it.
Really?
Oh.
I mean, after 16 years, it's hard to remember stuff, so things start bleeding together.
30 minutes. Sorry.
No. The Thornells were here. The Ellises were here.
Yeah. Good times. Good times here.
Uncle
And
James and
then
Aunt Joanna
Uncle
were
James
here.
and Aunt Joanna. So good times here. Lots of really incredible memories. And we did a lot of, honestly, we started outreach ministries to Coastal.
Right.
And so we would do move-in days at Coastal. And we went a lot of Coastal kids. And then summers would come or Christmas breaks would come and they would just disappear. And we never really had any interaction with them anymore. And it wasn't until we moved to the other place where we found Destiny Lane. That's where we found Kyle Russell and started making a connection with him. His first Sunday was over there.
Because we gave out free gas cards.
Because we gave out gas cards.
Gas
yeah.
cards. That's how we got Coastal kids to come.
Yeah, it was. And so I'm thankful for that gas card because it got me a connection with Kyle Russell, and I love you, Kyle, and you're amazing. And I'm thankful for all the connections that you've then been able to make for me, like Uchenna and Tobena and their entire family. And that was because of, if you trace that back, that was because of a gas card that we...
The ripple effect.
Yeah,
He
preached on the ripple effect. That was because of a gas card that we gave out to a bunch of college kids. And so I remember doing outreach events on Coastal's campus, and
Move-in
wife, move-in day. You remember move-in day? That was miserable. We did a outreach event on the campus, and your wife went and picked up hot dogs from Sam's.
Red hot dogs.
She picked out the red
Carolina Pride.
the Carolina Pride red hot dogs.
Absolutely.
And
they were not
excited about
impressed
that.
at Coastal.
Yeah, they thought they were are these spicy?
They thought they were like the
little hot sausages.
Yeah.
No, that's called Carolina Pride. Welcome to the South.
And so we struggled. We had done so many, 10, 15, 20 different outreach events over there where we would feed them. It's not like it is now. Now you almost have to have a permit to do anything
I don't
over
think
there.
you can do anything over there now.
Back then, you just walk over there and set up a grill, and you would draw a crowd to you. And so we had never had trouble drawing a crowd until these hot dogs came out.
Yeah.
And then everybody was so confused about what kind of hot dogs these were. And Kimberly, in her sweet country voice, she said, "Y'all never had none of them red hot dogs."
I think they were the cheapest ones.
No doubt. That's all we could afford at the time. It was the cheapest hot dogs we could afford, and we could not even give them away to college kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how terrible they were.
Yeah. I mean, like, hot dog's a hot dog to me. I've eaten one cold before. It doesn't bother
Yeah,
me
you
a
got
bit.
a lot of Northerners, that come to Coastal, and they're like, yeah, I don't know what to think about this. Whereas, down here, we eat a red hot dog. It's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't want red hot dogs?
Absolutely not. I don't want no red hot
Ever
dog.
had one?
I don't want no cold hot dog.
We need to do that. That needs to be a food challenge.
I remember putting a hot dog in a microwave between a piece of white bread, and that was kind of
put
that was a
cheese
low.
on
That was the
That-
extent
that was
of
a
your.
low.
That was the extent of your.
They've blown up before in the microwave.
It's nasty.
And obviously BJ Munn was here back in the day, and he brought AB and Tamika here with him.
Yeah.
Now I'm not sure if it was this one or the other one.
It was
No,
this
they
one.
were
Okay,
for
I
sure
was
here.
I thought so.
His name is Lee.
Yeah, Lee and Lee actually did our loan at the new facility, which is really cool. Just kind of how things all tie together and how life is. It's really amazing. Some of the stuff that we were able to I say accomplish here. It may not be the right word, but some of the impact we were able to make here and the way that has continued to reach even into 16 years later to where we are now. Yeah. It's been really, really impressive that God is that, God is faithful. But then when you see, wow, God, you're that faithful. Even something like Mr. Pete, who owns this facility, whenever we move into our new place, and I've always heard of the allure of Mr. Pete Hughes, Uncle James, my dad. They would always talk about him, but I never really, as far as I can remember, never met him, never had a relationship with him for sure. And we move into the new facility, and him and his family start coming to church with us, and they love it. And all of a sudden, months into them coming to church with us, they say, "Hey, we're going to join the church." Yeah. And so they're joining the church, and I'm showing a clip of the story of us growing up, and I show a picture of this. And so afterwards, Mr. Pete says, "Hey, you have any desire to go back over there and do ministry again?" And I was like, "Yes, absolutely." And so Mr. Pete actually opens up this facility for us every Wednesday night I say Mr. Pete, somebody. Ashley probably opens up this facility every Wednesday
and Dottie,
night.
The cutest dog ever, if I could get her on camera.
They open up this facility every Wednesday night for us to have a Bible study here for college kids. And I know a few weeks ago they had, maybe not a few weeks ago, it may have been a couple months ago now, but had a great crowd, 36 or whatever. And then the next week they were so disappointed that they had 24. And I was like, y'all better shut up talking about 24. Like, man, I remember when we had 10 and we were thrilled that 2 visitors walked in. Yeah. And so just really amazing and really incredible how God is continuing to weave things into place and to just do some really cool stuff here. It's really, really amazing. Maddie is trying to convince the dog to come over here. Come here, Daddy. Come here, Daddy.
Oh. Come here. Can you come here?
Praise Jesus. What is the one? High five.
Great viewing right here.
Yeah, you can't see it. She's off camera. Come here. Oh, look at Dottie. Say hey to the people, Dottie.
Is she not the cutest? I mean, she looks like our Hazel.
Poor Dottie. Dottie was not here whenever we were here the first time.
No.
Dottie was not here.
Can you speak? Oh, that's a good
one. Oh.
This is Ashley's dog. Okay.
So, anyways, just really cool how God is continuing to weave things together and to put people into place that have been impacted or that have impacted us and allowed it to be something that has still carried on even to today from 16 years ago. It's really, really incredible. And a lot of people that we probably don't even know about, that the ministry then impacted their lives, that we don't even have communication with anymore, have any interaction with anymore. And yet, because of what we did here 16 years ago, we've changed eternities and families and generations to come. And so I just think of the Bible verse, don't despise small beginnings. So to all of you out there who are starting ministries or starting churches or new business ventures or whatever it may be, don't look at the struggle at the beginning as something that is so negative that you can't get through. Keep pressing through, keep pushing through.
Have fun
with it. Make memories, and you'll look back years later and say, man, look at what the Lord has done because of his faithfulness and his goodness, but because of your faithfulness through the process, God can do something really cool and really incredible inside of your ministry and your life and your family and your business or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Amen. So anyways, that's it for this week. We're going to come back. We're going to come back here in the same clothes and do part 2 of this, where we're going to talk about the future.
Look at the camera, not me.
If next week you look and you think, oh, I've already watched this video.
You have not.
You have not. We just happen to be.
We could switch shirts, all of us.
Or switch seats. Maybe we'll switch seats so you know it's a different podcast.
You could wear mine.
No.
I don't think I can. I don't think I can fit in yours. So we'll swap around seats so that you know it's a different podcast. and we're going to talk about the future of the church.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
You got anything for him?
No.
That's all you got?
That's all I got.
Peace out. Let's go.
See ya.